lot going on in this video. I'm going to be very clear. I'm going to be speaking about this video in a versus CPU aspect. Okay? I want to be very clear about that. I am not a head-to-head player. I play very little head-to-head. I play versus CPU. Whether it's MUT, whether it's Dynasty, whether it's Play Now, Superstar, most of my gameplay is versus CPU. And my experience with this game, which I have played, is versus CPU. Okay? We probably shouldn't be talking about Madden while I'm wearing EA Sports shirt, should I? All right, you ready? First of all, did you guys notice the run out stuff? Did you guys notice that, like, all this, like, the entrances? Won't go too far into that. Just notice that. Just notice that. The player icons do look better. For a good reason, Wheels. So you're seeing things like, yeah, like the player icon looks differently. Just in general, there's they put a whole, if you notice the game speed, the big thing is gonna be the game speed. Look at how fast, like, that's not something last year that we dealt with, okay? It just isn't. It was very slow and in the mud last year. Look how fast Josh Allen is there. If you're talking about the movement, there you go. That's all I have to show you is just look how fast he's going to his left. Look at how fast the game is moving. They did not, field isn't bigger, just different camera. Different camera than you're used to. There is, yeah, the field is not bigger, and just so we're clear, the game is absolutely faster and more tacky to control, okay? You see the play in snow with Pacheco there, Pacheco leaning. This is a mechanic now, by the way. This is a mechanic. The leaning, you now have two different things to do with the right stick. You can flick it up to do a truck stick, or you can hold it up to do a reach. And if you hold it up, you will absolutely fumble more. You will absolutely fumble more, okay? I'm gonna turn this on just a little bit so we can hear him. All right. Seeing a bunch of cool things here. Now, one of the cool things you're going to see in all of this, and one of the things they're really focusing on, is DNA. Okay? Think of DNA as they want the players to actually play like themselves, especially 1, 2, 3, 4. Right behind me is Josh Allen. They want all of those players to play like not as you control them, as the AI controls them. So, we're not going to be talking about franchise today. They'll be doing a franchise deep dive later. This is all gameplay. So what they're showing is they went through every team's data and they brought in a bunch of stuff. There are over 100, I think it's 100 new traits. You know the trait system we've been using that's been kind of iffy for a while, chat? The trait system, like aggressive ball, yes, those type of things. They tore it all out. They put new ones in. It's not just tight spiral anymore. It's when will the quarterback throw the ball? Is this guy going to fight for more yards? There's all kinds of stuff, and it's mainly based around the quarterback. They're gonna go around to all the different positions as the game goes. But for the first year, everybody got some. The quarterbacks were focused on. So, like, you're going to see Josh Allen running to the line of scrimmage. There's a trait for, like, hey, first down. If I can reach the first down, will I run for it, or will I still try to sit back and pass the ball? So, there will be a blog. There will be a blog at some point, okay? Also, you see this stuff? You see this right here that they had mentioned? The little orange on here? Feel like we heard that before? You have not heard this before, Senecal. You have not heard me say this before, just so we're clear. You've not heard me ever talk about the trade system of this game, because it sucked before. So, if you're thinking in a more general sense, you can think of a general sense, so sorry. These right here, no, it's QB vision. The height of your quarterback versus the height of the offensive lineman, and passing lanes. Passing lanes matter. It's not a cone. It is not a cone. It is not a cone. Passing lanes matter. I'm talking about new mechanics, Cinecall. I'm talking about new mechanics. We're moving on. So if you throw, see this right here? See this right here? If you were to throw as this guy is blocked, you take an accuracy hit. You take an accuracy hit because this quarterback can't see where those oranges are. You're essentially throwing to space. You will take an accuracy hit if you throw over the lineman like that. Really cool new thing. It's really going to affect, like you said, your shorter scramblers, like the Kyler Murrays and stuff. They're honestly between like a Ben Roethlisberger type or a tall 6'6" kind of quarterback. A 6'6" quarterback, these lanes will be much wider. So just like real life. All right. So the coach tendencies, QB signatures, and advanced player traits. Right there. See the elusive instinct? This right here. This is what I'm talking about with like player traits. What type of player is the guy that you're having? Not just does he have a good juke move, it's what is his tendency? So like you can have a guy like Derrick Henry, right, who actually has a decent spin move. But if his instinct is like bruiser, he's going to go for contact every single time. Okay? He's going to, or not every single, most of the time, he is going to go for contact. If you have an elusive guy like Lamar Jackson, he is going to not just go down as a quarterback, because you'll notice right here as a quarterback, he's moving, right? So he is going to, instead of go down and give up yards, he's going to try to get around. If he's in the open field, if he sees one guy here, he's going to go, you know what? I'm not going to slide. I'm going to try to juke around the guy. All of that built into QB traits. Again, right there, you see a little drag route for Trevor Lawrence. You see that right there again, the little dive animation. See Drake London there with the dive animation as he's going this way, comes back and still reaches for the end zone. So you're going to see the word DNA a lot. It is a buzzword. I'm going to be very clear with you. It's a buzzword, but it actually does mean something. So different quarterbacks that play differently will play differently. I think you're going to see a Matthew Stafford like throw a no-look throw. You're going to see the nice little toss there. Justin Herbert throws more bullet passes than anybody else. You see the little sidearm throws, the back foot stuff for a lot of the scramblers. Kyler running around behind the line of scrimmage trying to get a ball open. By the way, for better or worse, the trait system does not mean they're going to play better. I was told this very, very, very clearly. Just because somebody has a trait doesn't mean it's good. Like you see what Kyler Murray is doing here. Kyler Murray is just trying to find an open throw. And even though this one works out, he will do this a lot. Well, he'll be like, the first sign of pressure he gets, he's going to scramble back and forth behind the line, trying to find a throw. So that's a big thing. Another run out there for Buffalo. You see the little jump throw by Caleb Williams here. Obviously, that was a famous throw that he made. I think it was against the Packers. See a little jump throw, and he goes up the field. By the way, what else did you see here? Where are my coverage guys? Where are my no eyes guys, chat? Where are my no eyes guys, chat? He's throwing to Y. Who picks this off? He's throwing to Y. Who picks this off, chat? Who picks it off? 1, 2, or 3? Who should pick this off? 2? It's quick. It's quick. Right? It's quick, but watch. You can't see it till the very end there, but watch this. Watch this. He doesn't stop. See him not stop? Watch, he's in full stride even when that ball's coming through. The way it works now, and this is not user control, so you online players don't have to worry about this. If you are not controlling a player and their eyes cannot see the ball, they will not pick the ball. They might jump up and take a wild swat at it or whatever, and swats are better this year, by the way. They will not pick the ball. You can throw to a blind defender now. Again, if somebody clicks on or skill sticks it out or switch sticks it out, that's different. But if you've got this guy looking at this guy across here, you can throw on his backside, and as long as he doesn't see the ball, you will be able to get through that pass now. The big ones that I've noticed when I was playing is on fly routes. On fly routes, I noticed that you can throw fly routes if the guy has a step now, and the best they ever do is get their hand up for a swat. They won't automatically pick it. So, again, these little back foot throws, the Lamar Jackson is huge on the east of the flat. I don't think this is a good example of these throws, by the way. I don't like these examples because they're screen passes. And if you do the automatic animation for screen passes, this throw shows up in 25 already, especially in college. This is a bad example for this. What they should have done was done some of the more like the slants across the middle where Lamar's like backing out this way and throws off the back foot, which he still does. But this little back foot screen, like everybody does that now. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of this as an example. Yeah, this little shovel pass is a trait now. That's a trait. If you're within so far and you've got the trait to do that, he'll shovel it forward. Same thing here. Joe Burrow is just getting out of the pocket here with his signature scramble style. But you'll see Lamar doesn't just doesn't just give up in the backfield. And this also shows another little cool thing that I think you guys know about. You can use the right stick and the right trigger now. If you're holding the right trigger, you open jukes up to quarterbacks again. You open up jukes to quarterbacks again. That's what this is. You can see Lamar juking. They have access to all of the moves everybody else does now, as long as you're holding the right trigger. This is a little cool thing too. We talked about like the 3/4 low, the over top. Everyone has different animations, but like this is now more custom to the players that are actually use them in real life. Okay, so it's 50. My bad, it's 50. 50 advanced player traits. So there you go. One of the big things here. This was also upgraded, by the way. Play receiver. Everyone didn't like play receiver last year because it knocked the ball out. The traits are not leveled. The traits are not leveled. Abilities are leveled, and X factors are leveled, but not. Wait, are abilities leveled this year? I don't think ability. No, I take that back. That's college. Abilities. There's no leveling for that. But no, this right here. So more often than not, this defender will, instead of going for the ball, try to tackle the receiver. Traits are different from abilities. Traits are under the hood, how people act. Abilities are things that actually affect like gameplay abilities and ratings and stuff. So play receiver, you saw right before this. You have a finesse rusher. So the finesse rusher this time, remember how we always used to have like finesse moves, but guys don't have finesse moves, so they use other moves and stuff. This means something now. This means that a guy like TJ Watt is going to use finesse moves more often than not to try to get to the quarterback. Risk taker. This is a big one. This is a big one for risk taker. So Baker Mayfield, known as being kind of a gunslinger at times, and will throw into coverage a lot to try to get his receiver the ball. You see right here, you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's still going to try to get this receiver the ball. So that's a big one. That's a big one. Love this because one of the problems that I've had with this game forever is that playing versus CPU always ends up being boring because it's the same thing over and over and over again. You know what I mean? It's literally the same thing over and over and over again. Eventually, it just matters what the playbook is. The playbook dictates the gameplay. That doesn't happen anymore. Now it's the coach that dictates the gameplay. By the way, the coaches look way better this year, too. Yeah, a lot of new coach gear. They went back through the scans a lot. Yeah, a lot of different stuff to do. Love that. A lot of guys looking like they should look. So you have 4 different head coaches here. You see tendencies like on schedule passing. Coaches have traits too. You should think about that for franchise. Just know that this right here, they try to slip this in. This is going to matter more coming up. I can't talk about it right now, but this is going to matter more soon. Just remember that we talked about this. All right? How is the variety of play calling by the CPU? Can't. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second, Brooklyn. Because this is where it's at. Andy Reid will throw more on-schedule passing. You'll see way more RPO and zone read out of Nick Sirianni. You'll see more zone run out of the 49ers system. You'll see more aggressiveness on 4th down. It's not just limited to those things. Their entire coaching play calling for the last 10 years has been analyzed and weighted into this system. Creative coaches are going to have their own stuff, Kevin. They're going to have their own tendencies. So if you create a coach, you're not going to have the same suggestions. Yes, tendencies follow the coach. Tendencies follow the coach. So again, they went through a decade worth of data, right? What's really cool, B. Thompson, thanks for the Prime getting 4-month sub. Welcome back. So this right here, pay attention to this. Because this is what coach suggestions are now. If you use coach suggestions, Dan Campbell will be on the screen and say, hit him in the teeth with a spacing switch. Reads are tight, ball comes out fast. Exploit those soft zones and keep the chains moving. Tough, efficient football. This is built into this game now, where you will get coaches and their play styles and their even like kind of like cadence styles, what they would do in each situation. Okay? This used to be in Madden before. It not like it is now. There used to be a version of this in Madden before that was based on the playbook, Himsel. This is based on the coach and about, like I said, about 10 years worth of data of actual play calling, and they adjust. So to be clear, some coaches adjust faster than others, but coaches will adjust their game plan as the game goes on too. This is not set in stone. So if you're beating a coach with like 4 verts over and over and over and over and over again, they will eventually do what they normally do to adjust to it, which means either they're going to become more blitz heavy, they're going to put more guys back in coverage, they're going to start running coverages that counter your 4 verts. Kevin O'Connell, stretch the defense horizontally with motion, set up a quick double pass, exploit mismatches and watch for yards after catch opportunities, keep timing sharp. And you see it's really cool. And again, it will highlight the play for you. So there you go. Kevin O'Connell, kind of a little bit more creative on offense. We'll run those trick plays a little bit more. Give me one second. Let me grab that real quick, just so I have it. Oh, it's open. It's on. We'll watch that. We'll read that in a second. Same thing here. Sean McVay. See this coach suggestion. The play uses motion to confuse the defense, sets the edge with tight ends, and creates space for the runner to hit the perimeter fast. You will have a call like this for every single play. Yes, Verse CPU should be much upgraded this year. No, Wheels, what it does is it's more of a tendency thing than a take advantage thing. Like their tendencies in real life will be shown in game. They still may make like for like let's say you're playing the Lions and you know they're overly aggressive. You know Dan Campbell is overly aggressive on fourth downs. That is again, it's much like it is with the quarterbacks, right? It is a tendency, not an advantage. So if their tendency hurts them in a certain situation, they are 100% still going to go to their tendency. All right? So again, same thing. You see Puka Nakua with the end around there, or the jet sweep. Same thing on defense. Cover one QB contain locks deep with a single high safety, while edge rushers box the QB. Great against scramblers, maintain pocket integrity. And that's Mike McDonald giving you plays, again, coach suggestions to counter what's been going on the other side. These coach suggestions right here, this stuff right here, will adapt as the game goes on. You're still going to have the tendencies of the head coach you have, but it's going to adapt. And even on your created coaches will adapt to say, okay, you know what? We're playing Lamar Jackson. I'm going to do more QB spy. I'm going to do more contain out here. I'm going to do more zone coverage because that way I have more guys with the eyes in the backfield. That kind of stuff, depending on the coach. And again, some coaches adapt faster. Some coaches are kind of set in their ways and will go out there and run, Tampa 2 100 times because they're going to say, you're eventually going to beat me. You have to beat me this way. That's why this is different than the old school stuff. So you see Kyler Murray here with a QB1 contain, which is exactly what they want to do. They want Murray to be off his spot. You see, they're going to have man coverage. They're going to man coverage on this guy because they kept the guy in the block. They're going to have a QB spy watching Kyler, and you're going to see both these guys in contains on the outside trying to move Kyler back in the middle to the linebackers, and exactly what's supposed to happen. Going to be a huge playbook expansion plus something else for I know they are, Brooklyn. I got it. I'm going to go into them in a second. Going to be a huge playbook expansion plus something special for franchise players that has not been talked about yet. Yeah, good call. I mean, ours has been good outside of the Falcons, though. Tier 145 month resub. Welcome back. Yeah, there's going to be something very cool for franchise fans around playbooks. Just know, again, we'll talk about that later. So block steering is a thing. He just talked about block steering for a second. If you are a defensive lineman, if you're actively as a defensive lineman, you can steer offensive linemen where you want them to go, depending on the ratings, obviously. Okay? Block steering is a thing. We'll talk about stunts in a second. One of the things you'll notice in all of these videos is how much cleaner all the blocking looks. I'm not saying the blocking targeting is completely fixed. I think it's better. I do think they still have some work to go with that. They have time to fix it. What I will say is how much cleaner and more realistic this looks. I know the blog is there. We're getting to the blog in a second. But you'll notice that blockers get steered and moved a lot more. It's not just, all right, we're grabbed and this is where we're going to block at until somebody sheds. Nope, I got you. Appreciate you, Jay. This is a cool little stunt here. You see Abdul Carter here, right? You're going to see 99 block down, bring the guard with him, block into the tackle, and Abdul Carter come around the outside, have a free shot at Dak. You're going to see a lot of this in real life. And the right tackle is just late getting over because of it. Welcome to Wear and Tear. Wear and Tear is now in franchise. It's in quick play too, and it's in MUT. It's in every mode in the game. But Wear and Tear is now in Madden. Boo, yuck. Why boo, yuck? It's a great system. It's way better than the fatigue system. And also, by pushing up on your D-pad, you can sub anyone out that you want on the fly. You can do this on the fly in the middle of the game. All you have to do is select who you want and push right or left, and it will sub out the next person in the depth chart. Also, if you've got a gadget player in one of these spots, you can sub them in too. Also, if you have a gadget player that might play both sides of the ball, you can sub them in too. It's a money grab for Mutt. It's not a money grab for Mutt, Himsel. It needs to be tuned better than it was in Cut. What it's meant to do in Mutt is to make sure that quarterbacks can't just scramble over and over and over again, and you can't overuse a player. I like the idea of it. It needs to be tuned better. And they know that. They're aware of that, Himsel. So yeah, you just bring them in, and all of a sudden they're in. Good to go. Custom defensive zones. I don't think many verse CPU players are going to use this. It's very tough to do this before the play. I want to be very clear about this. It's very, very tough to do this before the play. So, the CPU QB doesn't give you a whole lot of time, but you can make any zone in the field. Like, let's say you have this cloud flat over here. You can make it go 45 yards up, or you can make it go 0 yards. So anything you want to do. You can also set the safeties like they talked about in college, like they talked about in the college like reveal. You can set the safeties anywhere in the field you want them. And that's before the play as a coaching adjustment. So you can do the safeties where they are right now. You can do the safeties up around the line of scrimmage. You can widen the safeties to the boundaries. You can center the safeties like here and here, like line them up with the boundary. You can center them on the hashes here if you want. You can put it on this boundary. You can line the safeties up anywhere you want on the field. Pre-play. So that means you don't have to like press your entire coverage to have safeties up in the box. If you don't want, you just call it before the play. Again, I don't think we're going to use a ton of custom zones as versus CPU players, but it is an option for us. So again, same thing. You see here, see what I'm talking about here with the coverage? So 2 right here goes, instead of going for the pick there, he goes for the swat. Before he might go for the pick and then take himself completely out of the play and let this guy just run at the field. He knows he's out of position, so he's going to go for the swat. Same thing here. What I tell you, back to the play, right? Back to the play. He swivels his head, and because he only has enough time to go for one thing, he goes for the swat. It's also a really bad throw by Purdy there. I mean, all throws by Brock Purdy are bad. Sorry, Rose. But also, Purdy's throwing this ball kind of here. If Purdy throws this ball out this way, it might be a touchdown. So again, it's all about explosive movement. Guys that are more agile, you're going to see better agility and better change of direction. Obviously, they're going to use Tyreek Hill for this. Last year, as you went like this, it took forever. It took forever to go up this way, and it slowed you down. Watch this here. Look how quick that was. Look how quick Tyreek Hill makes his turn. Same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, James Worthy, who gets right upfield and acceleration, and he's gone. Last year, I'll be real with you, if James Worthy gets this ball here last year, right here, he's tackled. Xavier Worthy, James Worthy, I'm thinking of, sorry. If Xavier Worthy gets this ball here last year, he's tackled. This year, because he has so much inherent speed and you're getting the ball to him in space, he's gone. So yeah, speed is getting a little bit of an upgrade. Can't answer anything about ratings. But you can see right there. Mike. You're the Mike linebacker, the Will linebacker. You got Sam. You got left and right edge. You have Gadget. You have long snapper. You've got nose tackle and D tackle, technically 3 tech, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, you see, long snapper's an actual position now. And they're identified that way too, by the way. They're identified as like TJ Watt is not an outside linebacker this year. He's an edge. So there's your gadget player right there. So Debo is your gadget position. I know they are, Wrecker. I got it. Yep, Sam, Mike, Will. So anyone know what Sam, Mike, and Will stand for, by the way? Strong, middle, weak. Just better names of calling them. Yep, strong, middle, weak. Yep. Gadget player is a player that does a lot of like, he's your normal like RPO read guy, or he's your, he's your jet sweep guy, Wheels, or he's your, he's your guy that you're going to do on an end around. Like all of the cool plays that you have a specific player. Taysom Hill, Debo, Zay Flowers was there for a while. Use undersized guy at end before they were erased. Having TJ at edge might not be the same. No, because TJ doesn't get erased in real life. No, he doesn't get erased in the game either. And again, remember, edge doesn't just mean the 4 guys here. Like, you could have a 3-4 and have edge guys too. They will be listed. So, like, if you have a Will linebacker, he is a Will linebacker in the roster. If you have a Sam linebacker, he is a Sam linebacker in the roster. So if you have a strong side linebacker, a guy that plays better on the strong side, he will be a strong side linebacker when you play this game. And when you flip the system, when you flip the play, the Sam and the Will flip as well. You're always going to get your Sam on the strong side of the play. So if you've got a guy, let's say you've got a guy in a 4-3 that's better at like setting the edge, and you're walking them down to the line of scrimmage, if you flip, he's going to walk down to this side instead, and the Will's going to come back over here and be your pass coverage guy. That's the point of having Mike. People are like, well, what's the point? Left outside, left, right outside. What's the matter? That's why you have strong, and that's why you have Will. Scav, I'm 95% sure when you flip at the line of scrimmage, they flip. I'm 95% sure when you flip at the line of scrimmage, they flip. I will double check, though. I will double check and make sure I know that for sure. But that's the point of having Sam and Will. It might, hold on. It might not be at the line of scrimmage. It might just be if you flip it in the play call screen. Scav. It might just be if you flip it in the play call screen. I'll double check. I'll double check and have an answer for you guys. Yeah, I think it might be the other way around. It might, because in line of scrimmage you might cause too many problems. But if you have auto flip on, like if the tight end lines up over here, the Sam lines up on the other side. That I know. Right, exactly, Scav. Yep, for sure. Football weather is huge. You've seen it already. I don't want to go too much into this because this is going to be more of a feel thing than anything else. You can already see, you can barely see down the field. You can barely see down the field. Hell, you can barely see the safety. It's already on there. This is real. This is actual in-game. This is in the build that I played. This is real. The rain is the same way. There is a rain and fog system. So there will be times where it is raining and this much fog will be on the field. This is real. And it does affect essentially everything that's happening on the field. Wind is so, oh. Yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, some people will love it. Some people will hate it. I promise you. Some people will love it. Some people will hate it. Trace, tier 1, 5 years, brother. Welcome back to the squad. All right. Just to make sure we didn't miss anything. Welcome to the gameplay dive, chat. Welcome to the gameplay deep dive. Sun Devils. Tier 1 49-month resub. Welcome back. What's up, Catagoon? Yes, there are different variations of rain and snow. Yes, correct. There are different variations. I think there's a weather slider. There's different things. A 33-page deep dive. Welcome. Yeah, we talked about a lot of this. Signature identity, community request. By the way, here's the link if you guys want it. Go ahead and pin that for the rest of the stream just so it's there. There we go. Okay. We talked about a lot of this with the signature identity. We talked about a lot of community requests for different types of players. We know you're all listening, whether it be searching social media, watching players play and stream, or having direct conversations. We value the feedback. By the way, I'm going to talk about this for a second. While I was down there, I talked to somebody who does take feedback from social media. And they said, I want to show you something. I said, okay. Okay. What do you want to show me? Yes, Scav. I mean, the rosters are ever changing, though, so I won't know that until we see a better build of the game, Scav. They showed me, first of all, you're going to love this. They showed me a couple different things. They showed me an Instagram comment from October of 24 that mentioned something about a different player like style, like Jaden Daniels looking too heavy for his build. And they said this led to this. And I was like, oh, an Instagram comment from a random Instagrammer. No, not a content creator, just a random Instagram that Jaden Daniels doesn't look like he looks like in real life. Okay. Then they showed me a Twitter post from early November 2024 that mentioned, by the way, that the Lions never go for it on fourth down. It feels like you're playing the same team all the time. Wasn't me. It was some 2-follower Andy. Okay? I don't say that as an insult. I do kind of, but didn't even at Madden. It was a generic, said Madden 25 needs to feel more real. All right. I see what you're talking about. I got you. Then they showed me a message from my Discord that talked about QBs never missing throws. I'm going to say this again. They showed me a message from my Discord that said CPU QBs don't miss throws enough. They're too high a percentage. I obviously argue with that person, but it's fine. And that drove a lot of the hey, CPU QBs need to be. It's not famous. He showed it to me because it was my Discord. They do this all the time. I want you to understand that I know they don't feel like they're listening. I know a lot of times you're yelling into the ether, that you're yelling into a black hole. They do, whether or not they act on things, they do see a lot of what you're saying. EA's lurking in a lot of places that we didn't know, Mike. EA is lurking in a lot of places that we did not know. I also send them a lot of stuff, just so we're clear. I do send them a lot of stuff. But they're in a lot of places that no one even realizes. And I need you guys to know that, like, you are being heard whether they do something or not. No, not my Discord. Not my Discord, Senegal. Don't. You can say it to me, I'll send it over. But that was just 3 examples of mounds upon mounds of feedback that they get that they do listen to and they look for it. They very much look for it. It's not like the old days. It's not like the old days where it's like, oh, we'll just go to Operation Sports and Sports Gamers Online and Digital Sports Network, and that'll be where it is. I do think it'll be better, and because I was way disappointed with 25. So, cat. Guys, what's getting fixed, knowing they at least acknowledge it. I mean, they acknowledge it. Yeah, I didn't realize it's a college football shirt for whatever it is, and I paid for it. But I did realize that probably reviewing this with an EA Sports shirt wasn't the right choice. I looked up at myself while I was talking about the video. I was like, wait, I'm wearing an EA Sports shirt. This is probably not a good idea. My EA shield, yeah, EA shield. Anyway, community request, foundational football. So I just want to say the community requests, they read a lot of places. They read a lot of places. Yes, Mike, it was. I know you're joking, but still. Signature identity, we already talked about that. QB DNA, we talked about that. In-pocket behaviors. So here's a list of new ball holds. Ball holds, by the way. Ball holds. Listen to me. I'm going to be very clear. If any one of you bitches about the little things in this game, I'm going to bring this blog back up and be like, listen, you need to understand just how many details they added into this game. So, the first community QB is how they behave inside the pocket. New signature ball holds. We have 9 unique ball holds at launch, including 2-hand and 1-hand variations of high, low, by chin, and back ball holds. For 1-hand variations, the QB AI is dynamic enough to contextually switch to 2-hand holds when under pressure or in traffic to increase ball security. For visual quality, a big benefit is having unique ball holds that they align better with each way the QB's throwing motion works, puts much less stress on blending the animations together when trying to account for a variety of throwing motions. It's going to be smoother. So there are 9 different ball holds now. I wanted to get it out of the way because I knew what you children were going to do. More active in pocket, so the idols, the QB bouncing around their feet. Yeah, so QBs that like kind of bounce in the pocket a little bit. Lamar Jackson, who doesn't have like still feet, will bounce around a little bit more. Scramble on the run. Significant amount of improvements coming for the scramble game, both passing and running. Revamped all of our on-the-run passing animations and full animation coverage from every arm angle. The whole thing again. Yeah, I'm aware. Thank you. Footwork fundamentals, let's see here. To give players more control and responsiveness, we smoothed out the animation transitions, starting with the first transition that happens from in-pocket idle to scramble locomotion. This is big. They changed this a few years ago, that when you go into a scramble animation, it slows down. We've all seen it. You go into a scramble animation and it kind of holds you back a little bit. Because of block steering being in the game now, they can go back to letting the QBs be explosive again, because block steering should contain them better. Should. But scrambling quarterbacks will now have that first step that they used to have back in the day. Then from scramble loco to set feet, so that and as you're scrambling, you can go back to set feet faster now too. You don't stumble or float a little bit more. You know what I mean? Further improved QB scrambling, we added our run cycle sets. Last year, 4 superstar running backs, including Barkley, McCaffrey, got signature run styles. This year, they've got Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and Patrick Mahomes added into that. So, I don't believe this is a 1-year build. Some of this stuff has to be worked on. Listen, this is the most I've seen in a Madden game. All right, let me clear myself up here for a second. Let me clear up for a second before I say anything, okay? Because I don't want to be that guy, okay? I don't want to be that guy. So I'm always that guy. Let me give it to you in a more unbiased word. To me, from what they showed me between, and again, I'm going to talk about this from a versus CPU style, versus CPU and franchise. This is the most I've seen added to Madden 26 pre-launch that I've seen in close to a decade. For franchise and for gameplay. This is the most that I've seen in one Madden cycle in close to a decade. I said to one dev down there, this feels like a 3-year cycle in one game. Okay? I'm going to be very clear about that. I'm not trying to hype you up for this. This is my honest to God feeling. It feels like a 3-year cycle got smashed into 1 year. Now, Mike, where are you at? Mike Ford, where are you at? That can also mean there's more that can go wrong. Okay? I choose to let it run, and we'll deal with that as the time comes. But for the pessimists out there, that also means that there's an opportunity that, more to go wrong. Okay? It is a very ambitious year for Madden 26. A very ambitious year. But I'm going to be real with you. I would rather them be ambitious in the alleys that they're doing than be safe. Being safe doesn't advance the game enough. They got to be ambitious sometimes. And they're always ambitious, but they have to be this ambitious sometimes. So, passing. There are unique situational passes that can only be triggered by specific players. So the thing we saw with Saquon Barkley last year with the reverse hurdle that only Barkley can do, there are specific things that only certain players can do now. Jump passes by Caleb Williams, no-look passes by Mahomes and Stafford, cross-body throws by Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. These special passes will automatically trigger for these specific players in similar situations. Now, one of the things they did say was last year, remember the diving throw from Patrick Mahomes? That was last year, right? Remember the diving throw that everyone was worried about? No, that was the year before last year, wasn't it? Was it 25 or 24? Whatever year it was, and then we never saw it in game. Like, it was almost never seen in game. I hope that we'll see this more often. I hope that we'll see these more often, but also I hope that we see the CPU use them. I never saw the CPU with the 24. I never saw the CPU do the diving throw. So some QBs have to be moving against specific aggression. Okay, this is all, again, signature stuff. Okay? All new animations for every type of throw that improves the visual quality and responsiveness. One of the things they want to do this year, and I'll be interested if they can do it. How many times have we seen the throw animation where the ball comes out and is like sideways? You know what I mean? The one where like the hand is going this way, the ball comes out this way. What they're trying to do is make it that every throw that comes out of the QB's hand comes out smoothly and off the hand like it does in real life. So that's their goal. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. Introducing unique base arm slots over the top, 3/4 and 3/4 low, assigned to each QB based on their default throw angle. QBs who frequently change their arm slot, like Matt Stafford, will be able to dynamically change from one arm slot to another. There is a trait that does that. A trait that is based on how often do you change your arm slot, or do you change it for a situation? Reimagining, by the way, traits are going to be a huge part of scouting this year. Just heads up. Traits are going to be a huge part of scouting this year for franchise. Especially for to fill somebody your team. Reimagining the quality bar of the QB means every detail of the position, which means refining how the ball comes out of the hand, so that it spins out of the hand, leaving the pointer finger last. This was something they did a ton of work on. Sounds small, but it matters. Across each component of QB DNA, in pocket, on the run, and passing, better than 500 new animations and 40 unique quarterback recipes. You're going to see this word a lot in the next couple of years. The recipe is, hey, all of these traits go together to make up Lamar Jackson. All of these traits go together to make up Trevor Lawrence. All of these traits go together to make up Caleb Williams. So they have very specific recipes for starting quarterbacks, and generated quarterbacks can get the recipes as well. There are going to be generated quarterbacks that have their own recipes of traits. So these traits are going to be in the draft as well. Just a heads up. Sometimes you hit the pass button the exact wrong time under pressure, then fumble instead of the ball going out. I hope that doesn't suddenly happen more often. What if I told you, Wheels, one of the problems I had was that people try to pass the ball when they're getting sacked as a bailout? I think all the archetypes are going to confuse the players that didn't know the difference between a Mike and a Will linebacker. At first. But I think those people, Hal, won't like even worry about it. A lot of those people don't even go into the depth charts, Hal. And it's pretty easy to learn. It's pretty easy to learn that Sam is the strong side. Yeah, Wheels, what if I told you that when you're under pressure, A lot of people were throwing the ball when they were under pressure as a way to bail themselves out, to get an incomplete pass. What if I told you one of my pieces of feedback and one of the pieces of feedback of a lot of different players, longtime players of the game, was that if you try to throw the ball when you're getting pressured, you should have a higher chance of turning the ball over. Exactly, hockey, yeah. What if I told you that that was the way that I think it should go? Because I don't think we hold the ball long enough. I don't think we sack or give up the quarterback. You know what I mean? Look at how often the NFL the quarterback gives themselves up because they know they don't want to toss the ball out. We are not disciplined enough. Yeah, we're not disciplined enough as gamers. So, speaking of user control, a few new QB mechanics. The first is field vision. Sight lines the QB in the pocket. We already talked about this. If a QB is not tall enough to see over the top of his line, his vision and accuracy will be impacted when not throwing in open lanes. You'll be made aware of this as the receiver icons will fade out when crossing into segments obstructed from the QB's view. The main purpose is of the new functionality is to bring more value to traditional, tall, pocket quarterbacks. If you have a pocket quarterback, you have an advantage now. You finally have an advantage. I actually don't know, Talk. You have an advantage as a passer now. If people are using shorter mobile quarterbacks in the pocket, they're going to have to worry about their vision more. It does affect throws, by the way. Jesus, does it affect throws? It affects throws. Believe me. If you don't know what your quarterback is, learn quickly. That moved for against depending on your success. You remember what it's called? The home field advantage or momentum factor. Momentum factor. How they got rid of it because it was. It might still be in. I know they toned it down because it was too over effective, especially in franchise. Robbing the ability to do ball carrier special moves with QB while behind the line, so you can evade pass rushers before throwing a dodge like Jaden Daniels. Again, oh no, I'm sorry. When you hold RT, it's your playmaker. LT is your playmaker. You don't need to use RT. It's just the right stick. Playmaker is now LT while flicking the right stick. I had that wrong. Tuning has been done to pass trajectories. Tuning has been done to pass trajectories. This is in college and in Madden, by the way. Tuning has been done to pass trajectories to bring more lob and lead to non-bullet passes so you can feel more fidelity to drop passes in the bucket. Thank God. Thank God. That's all I have to say is thank God. So, QB traits, we already talked about this. Look at this. These are the QB traits. Look at them all. Look at them all. Look at the 50 QB traits, chat. Look at some of the cool ones. You ready for this? Look for the stars. Will throw to their star receiver more often. How many times have we bitched about this, chat? How many times have we bitched about that star receivers don't get the play? Don't get the same play that they should. How many times have we complained? You tell me. It's a lot, Jaspers. Risk taker, force the ball downfield. Conservative, shorter passes and avoid forcing. While higher tendency to throw bullet passes, higher tendency to throw lob passes. Snap mischief will often perform fake hikes. The CPU will fake hike now, by the way, especially on late downs and short yardage situations. Also, I don't want to say this because it still needs to be more. There are more penalties in the game now on default. Just saying. Are these dynamic? A team gets a star receiver? No. Traits are built in. They're not dynamic, although you can edit them. You can edit traits. You can edit traits. I would assume Steven Chronicles, they know better than I would. We'll have to see them when they release it. Snap mischief, seeing ghosts. God damn it, I feel so bad for him. After a sack, QB with this trait will tend to force a pass to their first read for the next 3 plays, resetting at the end of a drive. So chat, You get a guy that has seeing ghosts and you sack him, press your coverage. Press your coverage down, boys. Quick trigger. QB with this trait will quickly attempt throws to the check down, not waiting for the play to develop. So Will Levis, yes. Throwaway. Higher tendency to throw the ball away when facing pressure. Panic button. Higher tendency to force passes when facing pressure. Double back. With this trait, can scramble away from the sideline to keep the will scramble. It should say will, not can. Will scramble away from the sideline to keep the play alive. So guys like Lamar Jackson who will run to the sideline and go, no play. Let's go back the other way. They will do this. Eyes up. Will keep their eyes up when moving toward the line of scrimmage, waiting longer for plays to develop before scrambling. So even if they're moving forward, they will still look for the pass. What's up, 49er? Setup time. With this trait, will tend to set their feet before attempting to pass. Hero ball. Will attempt to scramble for yards if they think they can get the first down. There you go. Quick clock. With this trait, will tend to escape the pocket after making their first read. Happy feet. With this trait, will almost always be moving. Kyler Murray. Paranoid. With this trait, react more to nearby defenders feeling pressured in even less intense situations. Oblivious. QBs with this trait will remain calm near defenders, feeling less pressure. Highlight reel. Players with this trait will have a higher tendency to attempt spectacular catches. So yeah, now we're into like the receiver stuff. Possession catcher. Higher tendency to attempt possession. Rack. Higher tendency to attempt rack. Aggressive receivers. With this trait, will have a higher tendency to attempt aggressive catches. Spectacular and aggressive are two different buttons now, by the way. Pretty sure that's in now, maybe? I don't know. DDs with this trait will attempt to jam press on press plays in the red zone. Play ball defender will be riskier and try for interceptions they may not be able to reach. They are. All of this is in MUT solo play. I'm not saying it's going to make it better, but all of these are in MUT solo play too. Play receiver will be safer. Steering clear will attempt to avoid hits by performing slides, give ups, or running out of bounds. Yes, scouting your quarterback will be a massive now. Showboat will be able to use their celebration logo on breakaways. Celebration dives in the end zone for cannonball. Run over. Players have a higher tendency to attempt to truck. If they are QB, they are less likely to slide. Josh Allen. They say what Oblivious means. Yes. Although it's been rebuilt, Hibs. This isn't the same Oblivious. Strong arm. A higher tendency to attempt a stiff arm. If they are a QB, they're less likely to slide. Whirlwind. A higher tendency for a spin. Higher tendency for a juke. Cover ball on big hits. Big hitter. Will a higher attempt to hit sticks. Conservative tackler. Punch it out. Knee biter for cut sticks. Knee biter's hilarious, by the way. Finesse rusher is more for a finesse move. More for a power move. More for a spin move. This is a pass rush spin move. So these are different now. As a reminder, remember that. Bouncer will attempt a club move. This is also different. Fly swatter, higher tendency to raise their hands to disrupt shallow passes. Again, this is a defensive line ability. Higher tendency to use effort on pass rushes for gas guzzler. Higher tendency to attempt a swim move. Higher tendency to commit penalties. This has been rebuilt, by the way. This will matter for your offensive lineman. This is 100% been rebuilt. These are not the old traits. QBs with the trait will have a lower tendency to leave the pocket or scramble for yards. Throw it up. Players with the trait will have a higher tendency to target outside receivers with deep or contested throws. And fortifier. Players with the trait will have a higher tendency to audible into max protection against potential pressure. So there you go. There you go. QB AI improvements. I mean, we've already talked about most of this, but let's get into it. Let's get into it anyway. Pocket movement behavior has been improved. Again, different QB traits. We'll see what they do. AI QBs will have the ability to make hot reads based on their ratings. Awareness on a AI QB will matter more in this game than it ever has. Higher rated QBs will now be able to throw quickly to receivers if they read quick pressure. Lower QBs will hold on to the ball longer. Read progression. This has been rebuilt, not just overhauled. This has been rebuilt from the ground up. AI has been completely overhauled. We use a machine learning model based on wide receiver openness to train our AI and finding and throwing to open receivers while they go through the read progression. Again, this was rebuilt from the ground up. and is also very heavily based on awareness. To better differentiate QBs inside the pocket, the speed at which they're able to process their progression is driven by their awareness rating. So again, a guy with a 70 awareness will go 1, 2, 3, 4. A guy with a 99 will go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how they'll read. They will actually read slower and they will read differently. So the 70 guy might see a defender on an offensive player, both of them going this way, and say, oh, he's covered. Whereas the 99 guy says, oh, I can throw that open. I can make that throw. He's open. One step is open in the NFL. One arm is open in the NFL. 99 will see that, 70 won't. So again, when you're playing QBs, this is a huge thing. As play extends, the new logic also allows QBs to take more shots downfield when they have a receiver on one-on-one. This is a big thing. This is not something we always saw. It had to be a receiver one-on-one and open. Now, if you've got a receiver downfield, especially a star or a big-time aggressive catch, they will give the receiver a shot. They'll say, screw it, open down there, you make a play. You make a play. I did notice this is better, by the way, when I was playing, but not perfect. I noticed, and I think if you guys played the college beta, you probably noticed this too. Receivers attack the ball a little better this year. Like if you've got a slant, the receiver will actually take a step in and try to attack the ball a little bit, as opposed to sitting back and letting the ball, like, you know what I mean? The thing that I've been so annoyed about, so. Everett, Jamar Chase down there somewhere, exactly. The coach's DNA we already talked about. This will be, again, this will be something we have to see more in play than anything else. Is that the head coach and his staff, coordinators will matter this year. You'll see why when franchise time comes out. But all of this stuff will be not only, so your coach comes with a certain set of tendencies, right? The coach has tendencies in different situations. Situational tendencies, right? Situational tendencies. As the game goes on, those tendencies change. So, like, let's say you're Dan Campbell and it's 4th and 2, right? Dan Campbell at the beginning of the game is more likely to go for this. Depending on how the game has gone, let's say he's failed a couple, or let's say he's up 3 scores. Same thing. The tendencies mean maybe he punts it instead. Or maybe he goes for a field goal instead. Those tendencies will change and at a different rate for each different coach. You will not be able to see those coach tendencies. Well, no, you can see them, but you can't see them in game. You cannot see what they're going to do. You just have to know that, like, some coaches will adjust to you. Some coaches will be staunch in their ways. AI control teams make dynamic play calls when playing against them. The Campbell coach lines will be aggressively go for the 4th down. Sirianni coach Eagles will use RPOs and zone reads to play to the strength of Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts goes somewhere else, Nick Sirianni will still try to find somebody that can use that system. System quarterbacks are going to be huge in this game. Coach suggestions also do a very good job of building up that bonus. Adaptive counters is what we're talking about, though. Coach push in the game? I have no idea. I don't know yet. Wasn't one of the things that I asked. I'm going to assume no, because they weren't sure if it was going to be legal or not, but I'm not sure yet. Data-driven coaching is also powering the new adaptive counters, which can dynamically change the suggested plays based on your opponent's tendencies. Whether you're playing against the AI or another user, this is important. Against another user, your opponent tendencies are tracked during the game, and the concepts that counter those tendencies become more heavily weighted in the prediction model. So your coach suggestions will give you things that will more likely to counter situationally what you're going against. The thing concerns me with this at all is we do a fantasy draft franchises or coaching tendencies. Your coaching tendencies are not about the players, they are about the coaches, Seth. The coaches' tendencies will always be about the coaches. They will adjust. If they have a player that doesn't fit the system, they will adjust their system around it. Again, especially if it's not working. But Andy Reid doesn't coach the way he does because it's Mahomes. He coaches the way he does because he's Andy Reid. So that's a big thing here. And again, the counters will be read as counter on their defensive play or on your offensive side too. Also, this adaptive counter will also allow you to get into your play action game a little more because it's a continuous chess match back and forth. For anywhere in the game that allows mix and match between coach and playbook or coach customization, we've created a league model that has been trained on global NFL play call trends. So you guys asked me what happens if you have a custom coach. It uses the league model. This ensures that in any game played outside of a team-specific context between a coach and a playbook, play calling will still reflect authentic league-wide tendencies. Both the individual team and the league models will be updated throughout the NFL season via title updates to stay current with evolving coaching trends. So like if it becomes a thing in real life to, go for it on fourth down more often or go for 2-point conversions at a higher rate, it's going to update it here. I do think scheme fit will be more important, K Burns. Let's see here. Coach speak. This is just the AI. There's an AI model that allows the coach suggestions to speak like the coaches. So, real-time coaching AI significantly advances. Originally introduced in College Football 25, RTC now transitions to Madden 26 as our central adaptive AI system across all of American football. Building on top of the college enhancements, defenses can now disguise their intentions through delayed safety rotations, pre-play defensive front adjustments, and precisely timed blitz packages. So again, all of that disguising coverage that we saw in college football is now in Madden. Plus, you have all that motion on defense that Madden does. So, a couple of really cool things going on that college has now lent over to the Madden side. So again, a lot of this is read and react post-snap because you can't read a cover 3 always from the beginning now, pre-snap. Coach archetypes further amplify the realism, mirror the strategic philosophies of actual NFL defensive coordinators. Teams like the Vikings and Chiefs aggressively pressure, while other teams like Eagle will probably play defense from a too high coverage shell. Steelers operate from their cover 3 look. AI control teams will utilizing diverse personnel groupings, blitz adjustments, and disguises to create confusion. So the AI can sub their players in now too. Dynamic nature of the RTC system, every game you play should feel more rewarding and strategic while displaying a signature identity of the team you're playing against. It's going to feel different. In my experience with the game, which again, 3 hours is such a very small sample size, I'll say I played about 6 different games in the first 2 quarters of each game, and different teams felt different, more so than before. It's too small of a sample size to say that for 100%, but my experience matches what's said in this blog. Playbooks. I'm not a big playbook guy. Motions and shifts. There are stunts and twists. The way you call stunts and twists is as you call the play, you just hold the button, and it will bring up all of the different stunts and twists you want to do. So you can do any stunt and twist on any play that it is available for. So like if you're in a 3-2-6, there's no stunt and twist at a 3-2-6 because they're too far apart, the defensive. But if you're in a 4-3, you can run stunt and twist all day. So you have any play that has the ability to stunt and twist, you now have the ability to call it on any play. More teams are using eye dressing to make similar concepts look different. Again, it's the same thing as we had in college, where you're like you're faking out what coverage shells and stuff like that. So double motion plays are in. It's crazy. You can now audible on offense when a CPU or when a offensive team is on a motion. Last year on defense you couldn't audible. This year you can. This year you can audible out of a play if the CPU team or your head-to-head opponent goes into auto motion. Last year you could not do that. So that's another upgrade too. New locomotion sets. Jesus, we're only halfway done. Jesus Christ. Defensive side of the ball, players have been clamoring for stunts and twists. They have them now. Pass heavy NFL offenses, we've seen a rise in exotic blitz pressures. There are a bunch of new blitz packages. And angles. Coach adjustments. We talked about the safety alignments. You can now do that again. Deep, prevent, tight, close. And again, you can the width for spread, wide, and pinch. And you can even adjust the midpoint of your safeties being left, right, strong, or weak. So again, it'll use the boundaries or the hash as the midpoint of the safeties. You can use either one of those. Trying to RPU with the ground. New adjustments allow you to dictate how your AI defenders players read. I can show you this, actually. Where's my field? If you're an RPO now, chat, and you have, let's say you've got 4 defenders, right? 4 defenders, and we're going to call this the offensive line, right? Right? Let's say you've got wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, right? And this is the RPO here, okay? With a block here. If you have a defender that is responsible in run fits, let's call this the will. Okay, the will linebacker. If his run fit is not the A or B gap, so if it's outside, if his run fit is on the edge, on an RPO now, his first assignment will be the receiver. That is different than it has been in the past. If you have a will linebacker or like a nickelback, whoever it is, if their run fit is on the outside, not the A gap and not the B gap, right? Their first assignment will now be the pass. So that is a huge change this year. Same thing with safeties. If you've got a free safety and this guy is an RPO and it is an RPO play and the safety has a run fit to the outside, the safety instead will go to the RPO pass and cover that first. That is a major change in stopping RPO spam. The big thing for me is unfortunately on RPO merchant. So welcome back, I guess. Usability. When using zone drops, you'll see player art update and you'll see the ability to reset your adjustments. Again, so that's you can do for the custom zone coverage. Not something I think first CPU players are going to use a whole lot of. More balance and strategy around fumbles. We've removed the ability for a user to have a conservative ball carrier adjustment. Users can't do this. AI-controlled ball carriers can. Users cannot. You actually have to be careful and cover the ball on your own. It was giving too many people the ability to run with no fumble risk. To avoid fumbling in late game situations, rely on the cover ball mechanic with RB R1, which is something that was in last year. When using cover ball in sim game style, you have a greatly reduced chance of fumbling. On competitive, as long as cover ball is active before a tackle starts, you'll be totally immune to fumbles. I think this is a cool little change for both of them. Football weather we've talked about a bunch. Snow, rain, fog, wind, all of it will be a big thing this year. Players will feel different due to the penalties of speed, acceleration, and change of direction. Change of direction is the big thing. Change of direction is the big thing that will affect you in the snow. Now you can fix it with acceleration afterwards, but the big thing about it will be is if you have a high change of direction, you'll be able to run better in the snow. Harder to kick and throw in the snow with penalties to power and accuracy. Already know about that. Foundational football and community requests. Player movement. This is a big one. No matter where you play, a 4-2 is a 4-2. Whether it's in college or Madden. A 4-2 is a 4-2 is a 4-2. No matter what. Speed, acceleration, change direction for each game. The differentiation between NFL athletes and college will be driven by the difference in how players are rated in speed, acceleration, and change of direction. So that's going to be a big one. Actually, So there you go. So it's going to feel faster and more tactile. Direct response to player feedback were very clear about expectations, citing the faster movement for college football felt more fun and responsive. Deep Dive is not out for college football yet. Release date is August 14th, right? It's August 11th for early access and 14th for full. To further test this out, we had a special playtest for Madden 25 for our Madden Design Council community leaders who reinforced the community sentiment that faster game speed felt better. It does. Depth chart position. We talked about this already too. Will, Mike, Sam, right edge, left edge, all of these really cool things. Finding and developing edge players across 4-3 and 3-4 defensive fronts will be more authentic. You won't have to frequently change positions between defensive end and offensive outside linebacker. So again, if you move the Steelers from a 3-4 into a 4-3, TJ Watt will already be an edge. July, it's for college football, it is July 7th for early access and 10th for full version. Same thing. So you have your edge guys no matter what. Same thing if you go from a 4-3 to a 3-4. I think people are missing this part. If you're an edge in a 3-4, you're not a defensive end. You're an outside linebacker. So those edges from a 4-3 will be in stand up at those positions. So heads up on that. Mike and Will linebackers will be used in most schemes, and Sam being used only in the base 4-3 formation. So you're gonna have Mike and Will for your 3-4. You're gonna have an edge in the 3-4, but in the 4-3 you're gonna add your Sam. So don't forget to keep a good long snapper on your roster to avoid some slow or even bad snaps. One second. One second. One second. I need to find. There he is. Got it. Okay, I just want to make sure. Yes, bad snaps are in. Wear and tear is in the game, Jared. Wear and tear is in the game. I'm very happy that bad snaps happened with a bad long snapper because now it takes a roster spot. Roster management is going to be even tougher. Roster management is going to be even tougher. Franchise fans, one more. Franchise fans, one more roster spot we have to worry about. I love it. There we go. Was it short? No, it's in. I mean, there's no in depth about it. Like it wears different body parts over the game. And there's also a seasonal version of it too. So, still not all. Very unique player entering the league this year for the draft for Jacksonville's Travis Hunter. So again, there's going to be an ability in game that allows you to play both and let it not impact your wear and tear. There's an ability in game that helps you play that. Very few core gameplay features the community care about more than pass coverage. Coming off the considerable amount of conversation about zones in Madden 25. Hi. The team has made coverage more realistic than what we see in the NFL for Madden 26. These efforts include hiring a Super Bowl winning former NFL defensive backs coach to our design team. Good guy, I met him. His expertise in combination with the expectations of our core players resulted in a variety of improvements on the back end of the defense. Two of the main areas were cover 4 and man coverage. So I want to be very clear about this. Cover 4, if you don't understand how to use it, learn. Learn match coverage. Just learn it. Okay? There is so much to learn on it and so many rules. There are so many rules, it's worth learning them. Strong trips and bunch logic for route concepts that send a back out of the backfield to a trip side. We've added the new push check to our quarters and palms coverage. Dynamic adjustment pushes or bumps the coverage over to the trip side and forces a man match on the receivers as they get into the routes, rather than relying on spot drops to cover 4 threats. Because if you were ever remember we talked about this chat with the like cluster. So if you've got like 1, 2, and 3 wide receivers in bunch, and then your 4th running back out this way, match coverage turned to a spot drop. Now there's an actual box, there's an actual push check that will allow match coverage to match up with all 4 players. So I love that. I actually kind of love that. Makes match coverage even more dangerous. So, let's see here. Rather than relying on spot drops to cover 4 threats to a side, this check makes defenders more intelligent about which receivers to leverage and less likely to blow the coverage when 4 becomes 1. 4 becoming 1 meaning the running back coming out this way, crossing over 1, 2, and 3. That means as soon as he gets over here, he becomes 1. So he becomes 1. So deep half, we've improved our AI of our deep half defenders so they reach their landmark quicker. In other words, chat, free safety, strong safety, cover 2. What did they not do? Cover the goddamn outside. Now they will. Now they'll cover better. Players should feel more confident using coverage to coverage, which aligns closely with the current NFL trend of non-traditional Tampa 2 coverages. Man coverage. Dangerous thought here because man coverage can be tuned too high and too low, but much better here. Based on the ratings match of the players and leverage, this system will allow receivers to create more separation more authentically and have a better variety in the amount of separation. Before, we already know that. It was either win or lose. It was either win or lose. Every route against man coverage was either, hey, 1 and then DB. If I go this way, the DB wins, he goes underneath of it, the DB loses, this guy's gone to the races. When a receiver wins on a cut, the defender can lose balance, allowing for a window to make a big play. Lockdown man corners, though, won't be so charitable in the space they allow. Leverage matters more. Pre-snap leverage. The leverage of the defender is going to play a much more significant role in receiver openness than in the past. The base win chance formula is still the man coverage versus the route rating. So for those of you that didn't know, if you're in man coverage versus whatever route running it was, that's what does the win or lose on these. The leverage side of the defender will have a significant impact on the outcome of a cut. So like if a guy has an in cut, right? If you got your wide receiver here and you've got your DB, but your DB's on the inside leverage, he's going to have an advantage on this cut. Whereas if the receiver goes this way, he would have a disadvantage covering that. Let's see here. Even when he does, the amount of separation gained will be far less if he cut to the inside. This could just mean a step of separation when winning versus outside leverage with 2 to 3 steps of separation when making a cut on the opposite direction. So again, you could have a DB trailing just a little bit or a DB that is here instead. So there's that. Leverage also plays a bigger role in matching from a zone coverage. Defenders will be more intentional with their man leverage point based on the rules of the zone coverage they are matching from. So cover 3 match, cover 4 match, leverage, pre-snap leverage, and leverage right as the snap happens is going to matter more into that man coverage, into who they match with. If the zone calls to take away the outside, when they match in a man, they'll stay in an outside leverage position. When they make, which will make the coverage stickier versus the concepts that they need to take away. So cover 4 is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if this guy matches with somebody, he's going to be more outside. If this guy matches with somebody, he's going to be more inside. If this guy matches, it's going to be more outside. That's what they're supposed to take away. Okay? We know man coverage is a delicate balance. Hey, we just talked about that. It doesn't take much to make either too overpowered or not really viable. We added a few improvements on how individual defenders play the ball, reduced the frequency of psychic interceptions. This is the no eyes. No eyes is not a thing. We refine the logic for when an AI-controlled defender can attempt to catch. If he isn't facing the ball or hasn't turned his head to see the ball, he won't be able to attempt to catch at all. Instead, play the receiver for a catch knockout more often. So again, will not play the ball if he can't see. So if you're throwing to a corner route, and this DB is running with him, but can't see the ball coming from the QB here, you can throw and not have to worry about this getting hit. No problem, Cynical. Far more animation coverage when defenders try to swat the ball. So swatting the ball and playing the receiver. Playing the receiver is also more effective this year, I've heard. Increased touch height to give defenders more balanced reactions to high ball throws. So again, you can swat high. There's a much deeper high animation for swatting. Mid-air interaction logic, zone drop and custom flat zone defenders now sprint back instead of backpedaling. So this right here is massive. If you're 20 yards or more, they will sprint to their spot instead of backpedaling to it. Disappointed Madden already has a deep dive and CFB doesn't. What does it matter, Clem? What's the difference? What's the difference if you have the deep dive today or in a week? Just out of curiosity. Cover 3 Sky, Cloud, and Hard Flats now play Country Cover 3, which means the underneath defenders will play zone spot drops. Gee, chat, we're going to call this the Mills rule. We're going to call this the Mills rule, chat. Chat, if you've got a Cloud Cover 3, right? And you have 2 hook zones, and you're playing against trips coverage. Yeah, but Clem, what does it matter? What does it matter? Prophecy, same thing. Why does it matter? If they gave you the gameplay deep dive 3 days before the game released, would it matter? Where do the hook zones play, chat? Someone tell me. We've talked about this all year. Where do the hook zones play, chat, in a cover 3? This is a cover 3. Where do these 2 hook zones play, chat? In a cloud. Cover 3 cloud. You like to know more about the game and not 2 days before? Why? Just because you're impatient? The hooks play over here. They will skate over. This is not a thing anymore. Yeah, wanted. 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 Wanted is different than need. Cover 3 match and buzz coverages will play skinny and skate respectively, which will allow the defensive matchup better to the popular routes on the 3 receiver side. The skinny check is the match principle in cover 3 Sky, where the backside hook curl defender will be responsible for the vertical route from cover 3. So 1, 2, 3, backside hook. This is weak side. If this guy goes vertical, this guy will take him now. Because the new game, there's excitement. Yes, but there will still be excitement when it drops in a week or 2. The same amount of excitement, Clem. People are just butthurt because they want it now. And we have somehow or another forgotten how to be patient. Custom defensive zones, we've already talked about this. It takes a little too long to play against a computer, but you can make any one of these zones go as far or as short as you want. This is going to be very good for head-to-head games. I don't think CPU will be able to do this a whole lot. So, it's the same way you would do other coverages. You're going to pick the zone, hold LB, like custom snap, and go up and down. I'm not trying to be a dick about it, Clem. I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to get this information at the same time, whether or not. The second they drop the gameplay deep dive, people are going to be bitching about wanting the cut deep dive and the dynasty deep dive. It's my money and I want it now. Okay, well then don't buy the game. Don't buy the game then. Show them with your wallet. Difference is we're all buying the game anyway. Don't buy the game. Okay. I knew you were. Route commit. Route commit is the new shade. When's the last time to buy the MVP version of both NCAA and Madden? I'm pretty sure you could buy it. You can still buy it now, I think. I think you could buy 25's MVP version right now. I don't think there's a date where you can't buy it. What's up, B-Show? Yeah, Dion, I don't think there's a date where you can't buy it. August 14th is the last day for the 10% discount. So you mean the day Madden comes out? The day Madden actually comes out. Yeah, if we were pre-ordering games at like GameStop still, I would understand it. But the games are all digital now. Yeah. Route commit. Again, this is the new shading, except it's committing inside and outside. It's a higher risk. There's no, I think you can do it individually now too. Okay. So route commit one, you can do one or all of your defensive backs. So again, this is going to be a higher version of shading. This will be a heavier version of shading, chat. As a heads up, this is going to be a big thing. So you know somebody's doing corner routes, route commit outside. So physics-based gameplay, we talked about this a lot already. This is a lot more on the offensive side for offensive linemen. Should help with some of the blocking stuff. The catch, tackles, stiff arms, and trucks have all now been added in to the physics for of hit sticks and cut sticks. Last year it was just hit sticks and cut sticks. Now catch, tackles, stiff arms, and trucks are all involved in there. No crossplay progression. Haven't talked about it yet. For you talking about Ultimate Team, they haven't talked anything about it yet. We know Dynasty has crossplay. That's the only thing we know about. And already had it anyway. Every year is a new save? Yes, you can't carry over. Yeah, no, there's no carrying stuff over. Timing mechanics aren't just for defense. Truck and stiff arm tackles are now also timing-based skill mechanics. You have to time them correctly. All of this is timed. So the hit stick revamp have been expanded to all one-on-one tackle interactions. So if you have a tackle interaction, it is timed. You have to time it correctly to be successful. Okay? 7 or more tackle animations. We talk about animations all the time. A lot more planned for title updates. One thing that they did talk about, they're planning a ton for title updates. And it's not just like, you know how we always complain about Ultimate Team having a live service and always being updated through the year? They're planning a lot of gameplay and franchise updates through title updates. I think it's going to be a good year for us offline players who like to see gameplay changes and like franchise changes. We're going to see a lot of those via title updates this year. So, ratch cap tackles for keebies to the catch point or our big hitters, in range lunges, unprepped hit sticks, variety of aforementioned reach for sticks. Yep. The reach for sticks is the big one this year too, and there's a lot more reaching for the first down. So, wear and tear in the game works similarly to college, not exactly. But again, you can dynamic sub now, both in this game, in college football, and in Madden. You can dynamically sub by pushing up on the D-pad and then selecting your player. You'll read a lot more about wear and tear in the franchise and presentation deep dive in a few weeks. Block steering. This makes the game feel more authentic. Because the entire time you're seeing blocks, instead of blocks just be like, hey, here's the tackle, here's the DE. Or here's the DE, right? They lock up and this is where they stay. Now instead, when they lock up, because of block steering, this little bubble can now move this way. It can now move this way. It can move this way. It can move this way. It can move this way. Blocks are now a lot more motion involved. It's not always keeping one spot. So you can do this manually, or the CPU control players will also steer. Like defensive ends against scrambling quarterbacks will steer to the outside like a contain a lot. Yes, Donsta, that's exactly what it is that defensive linemen are taught to bring people into gaps. When running laterally to make a play to the outside, try to get downhill and fit a gap on defense. You now keep your direction and momentum when you get engaged in a block. So again, same thing. As a guy stretches out this way, you could be a defensive end, and you could literally ride your blocker out here too, and bring him back inside. So that's a huge thing in this game. This is the most underrated change that they put in the game this year. Real talk. I'm not even kidding. This makes the game look and play better just by adding it. If they added nothing else to this game but this would change how the game is played. Period. This will get overlooked at some point, but when you look at Madden, when you watch Madden, you go, "Wow, this looks way better. Wow, stretch plays aren't as money as they were." Or I'm running into like the whole line is moving with it. That's because of block steering. The people that did block steering deserve an absolute raise for not only inventing it but implementing it into the game. So the leverage system, we talked about this with leverage before, blocking animations, and the new leverage system knows what leverage is desired by a blocker and defender when they get engaged. So if like let's say this defensive tackle is responsible for this A gap with the center and the guard here. Let's say this tackle is here, but the running back also has the play developed to go here. Both this center and this guard going in here know that they want to move this defensive tackle one way or the other. The defensive tackle knows that he doesn't want to move. So the leverage system is going to be able to defend that. Like defensive tackles are going to fight to stay in that gap. Offensive linemen are going to fight to push them out of that gap. That's not something that happened before. Before it was just like, hey, first guy I see, block, hold on. So there's a lot more of this. And I suggest reading over the leverage system and the blocking. So pass block mechanics. Oh, well, there we go. You want to talk about pass block mechanics? We've added unique pass block protection. Oh, by the way, when I was playing Madden there, I ran a pistol HP dive where the quarterback was here. The halfback was here. There was a center, a defensive tackle. There was a will linebacker and a Mike. There was a defensive end, a right guard, and a right tackle, okay? And I think this was a nickelback out here. I want you to know what happened here and what I expected to happen. The dive goes up here. Center blocks this guy this way. Left guard touches this guy for a hot second, right? Then he goes towards the will linebacker. This guard takes the defensive end, gaps open. Right tackle goes out here, seals out here. This halfback, this Mike linebacker starts moving in this way. The will linebacker was moving out into zone coverage. Chat, what do you think this left guard normally does in that position? When in every game you've played up until this year, what does this left guard do after coming off of this defensive tackle? If he touches the defensive tackle, where does he go? No. In Madden, not in real life, in Madden, where does he go? It's not a pull play. It is not a pull play. It's a dive. It's not a power play. He's not coming this way. Sit there. Linebacker. Which linebacker? G-Man, Mike or Will? Mike or Will? In Madden's pass, he went to the Will, right? Or doesn't move, right? I'm saying this because I saw this happen. I was about here right after the handoff. The Mike was here. This left guard peeled off this defensive tackle and cracked the shit out of the Mike. I saw it happen with my own eyes, and I was like, I had to stop the game and go into replay. He literally took the Mike off his feet by coming across, realizing that the Mike was the more immediate threat. He was going up, by the way, and immediately came across and cracked the shit out of the Mike. I'm not trying to hype this up. Please understand, I was blown up when I saw this. I literally blew up when I saw this. I have never in a Madden or a college football game ever seen a guard crack across and seal over the center. And this is a tackle right here if he doesn't. Instead, I got 6 yards as the will came up on me, and it gave me a chance to get more. I've never seen a Madden game do that. Not saying it'll happen all the time. Not saying it'll happen on release. Who knows? But it's kind of crazy that happened in this game, and I was like, this never happens. Those are the type of moments you live for. So, one of the cool things about pass protections, every passing play in the playbook now has half slide, full slide. It has something applied to every pass. So those of you that didn't know what all this was, didn't know how to use pass blocking, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You should still worry about it, because you might want to change it. But every passing play in the book, including play action, now has one of these protections applied to it default. And that will help you. So if you're a guy that runs a lot of empty or runs a lot of 5 routes, like all 5 receivers in routes, and doesn't block the tight end or running back, every single time they'll be in emptier base. And that will help your pass blocking by default. Yeah, for example, plays with only 5 blockers are set to empty protection by default. So if you hot right your running back to block without changing the protection, your tackles will still dual read. So to make it easier to interact with new preset protections, we've added some new tools. The first is a new pre-play mechanic called Untarget Defender. Where are my online players, chat? Where are my online players? Defensive end, defensive tackle, defensive tackle, defensive end, and then some idiot holds the middle linebacker up on the play, right? And what's the play? 4-3-6-1? 4-3-6-1? Where you play patty cake for a hot minute, for like a hot second with the center, and then you drop out and the center freezes? And then you've got these guys coming from the outside, right? That's the meta, right? That's the old meta, right? You can now untarget this middle linebacker and the center will play somebody else. So just as a heads up, you can actually block your tight end now and untarget that middle linebacker, and there you go. Now you know that the guy floating that guy across the middle isn't going to come in. So it's like ID the mic, but it's the ignore instead of target. That's now in it. Someone likes to hover the linebacker, yeah. Protection of the fly functionality allows you to easily switch the direction of your protection with a flick of the right stick. So you don't have to hold like a whole bunch of different buttons. Just flick the stick one way or the other, it'll do it. New tools, visual upgrade of the drop back passing game with all new pass block locomotion. That's going to be something you have to see. I can't explain it to you. Play action pass. New block targeting system for play action. They have rebuilt play action blocking from the ground up again. One of the things last year was it was just essentially play action blocking last year was just run blocking. That's all it was. Whatever the run play was built off of, that's the blocking it had. This year, it has actual like half slides built into it. If you've got a boot action out here, this tackle's actually gonna block outside now instead of letting this goddamn defensive end run at you every single time on this boot. Believe me, I know the pain. So they're going to be a lot more. It's not just run block targeting. It's going to be a bunch of new targeting in the play action that should allow you to actually run play action if you fooled the defender. Pass rush updates too. The stamina thresholds that controlled how many moves can be performed per play have been removed. Instead, each move will cost a dynamic amount of stamina based on the defender's pass rush move ratings. We've also changed the functionality of the R2 input, so holding down for the acceleration burst gives you speed you want and different sheds and counters that are more explosive. So if you use the defensive line and the CPU can do this too, there are a bunch of different animations for that kind of stuff. So effort mechanic, yeah, there it is. The new gas guzzler trade has been built around. So effort is holding right trigger and using moves with right trigger instead and having more explosive moves as opposed to just normal swims, normal spins, that kind of stuff. Defensive AI, we're almost done, chat, I promise. Defensive AI in general, they've improved the run fits. The run fits are not rebuilt, but retargeted. With comprehensive analysis of data from, again, the NFL, gap responsibilities to the NFL. You'll see run fit defenders far more aggressive getting downhill. So instead of linebackers waiting for that gap to be there, they're going to downhill go into the gap now. Unless their run fit tells them to stay back and maintain gap integrity. Now, if this will linebacker is supposed to go into this B gap, he's hitting that B gap. He's going to make sure that B gap is covered. And we talked about this before. A and B gap defenders will also be more aggressive in playing the run first. C, D, and E gap coverage defenders will play the pass first in RPOs. That's a big thing for people that spam RPOs. Keep in mind, as mentioned with real-time coaching, we now use play calling and adjustments just like a user would defend repetitive plays. Again, that's the CPU. Superstar abilities, aka passive abilities, that impact outcomes will no longer have any built-in guarantees. No built-in guarantees. I'm going to say this again. Abilities do not have built-in guarantees anymore. You will see an increased chance of anything. Knockouts do not guarantee knockouts anymore. Thank God. Thank God. So, you sim players that love sim ball are going to love to hear that, because abilities now, there will always be overpowered abilities, don't get me wrong, but now abilities don't guarantee results. They give you a better chance of results, but do not guarantee, like college was last year, exactly. Yes, realistic mechanic, exactly. It's realistic now. Hotspot celebrations is fun. It's just celebrations. You can run around the back of the end zone and go to specific spots. Like the Lambeau Leap is in as one of these hot spots and stuff. So different places you can go. Modernized skill trainer. By the way, they didn't, the skill trainer, they went to the skill trainer and didn't know what half the things did. So they rebuilt the skill trainer completely. They have a drill available for every single mechanic in the game. 130 new tutorials, all rebuilt so you can understand every single mechanic in the game in Skill Trainer. I know a lot of people won't go into Skill Trainer, but this is the type of teaching tool that Madden needs. So, every question or theory you've ever had about an on-the-field button press can be answered, and the new user-friendly menu allows you to filter through all this content and immediately see tutorials for mechanics. And there you go. Now the ability to tune gameplay without the need for a client update. This will allow us to be more agile and respond to gameplay feedback faster. They don't need title updates anymore to adjust gameplay. I think so, Wheels. I'm not 100% sure about that. They can actually adjust gameplay on the fly now instead of waiting for a title update. So they can do gameplay updates much faster if they need to. And there is no Hot Route Master anymore. The full route tree is now available by default. Hot Route Master is not a thing anymore. You can hot route whoever you want, whenever you want. And that's it. That's all of it. Welcome in. Do you understand now why I'm excited about Madden? And we haven't even talked about franchise, by the way. I hope you understand why I said I was excited about Madden. This is a lot. This is a lot. If you're overwhelmed, by the way, I think that's okay. There's a lot to this. Again, the link to the deep dive is at the top of the stream, the pinned comment.